how's it going? I am amazed today at all this beautiful land, sea of leaves I should call it, in my backyard, and it's just such a glorious fall day. It actually has been a very nice week, first week of November, and it's been really beautiful. The weather has been just perfect, and my trees are still quite full, so I'll probably get a lot of leaves falling on my backyard and in my beds. But right now, I mean, I did one sweep already, but there is so much out here that I just wanted to show you. I mean, I'm supposed to do a bit of cleanup, but I feel like it's beautiful to just enjoy it the way it is. I generally just leave the leaves in the beds over the winter months, just so that the pollinators can, insects and little bugs can overwinter. So that's what I plan to do with the leaves, but I will rake some of them in the beds and do that. But I just wanted to show you what the garden was looking like this morning, and it's just a sea of beautiful leaves, and it's so pretty this morning. And I'm capturing this moment just so that I can remember when I look back, and also see how the garden transforms over the months, and it's just beautiful in its glory. The fall colors are just absolutely stunning, and I really enjoy this time of the year in the garden because it's so nice. The sun feels so different. Everything feels like it can relax from the summer heat and really put down its roots and grow. So lots of new plants that I added in the garden this year. I think we'll have a nice chance to kind of relax and settle in, which makes me very happy. And the garden is just looking full of this beautiful golden leaves, and I just absolutely love this time of year. I also want to walk through the garden and show you. I haven't done a video on my backyard in a long time, so just want to walk through and show you some of the new plants I've added this fall in the garden, which I didn't necessarily get a chance to record while I was planting them, but I wanted to still walk through and show you some of the new additions in the garden and take you along and share with you, and also some of the things that I will be cleaning up before this weekend, just because there are a few plants that I always clean up. That includes hostas, lilies, and I will cut back my iris leaves as well. Those are and peonies. So those are the only few things that I do cut back and clean up in the fall. Everything else will stay as is in my garden, but I just wanted to really spend some time today to show you some of the new plants that I have added, and also just plants that I will be cleaning up. I will be removing leaves on all of the hosta because they are dying and they've pretty much turned yellow and they're withering, and if I leave them over the winter, nothing terrible is going to happen. They're just going to turn into a bit of a mush, and I just want to avoid that whole slugs and snails under them. So I'm just going to cut those leaves and compost them, and that's what I'm planning to do. And I will also walk around today and show you some of the new plants that I've added. If you're new to my channel, I garden in Zone 6 in Toronto, and my name is Preeti. Welcome. And if you would like to follow me, do consider subscribing to my channel. I post about my gardening experience, my recommendations, and things that I am doing in my garden that I'd like to share with you. So with that, I just wanted to welcome you into my garden today and show you around my new plants and some cleanup that I am going to be doing today. First plant I wanted to show you that I added into my backyard garden is this beautiful sweet spire. So this is in its fall color glory right now, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Look at the colors on this plant. So I kept the tags so I could share them with you. So this one is called Fizzy Mizzy Sweet Spire. It's an ITEA. So this one is a Proven Winners ITEA. it's anything but typical. Fizzy Mizzy Sweet Spire will perk up any spot in your garden. The abundant, fragrant white flowers point upward, creating a dazzling textured effect. So this plant is a native plant. It's fragrant. The blooms are quite fragrant. It has a beautiful fall color, as I just showed you, and it's hardy up to USDA zones 5 to 9, and it will get about, I would say, about between the 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. And it is just a beautiful plant. You can plant it all the way in shade, part shade, sun, and of course you would get really good coloring if it had more sun. But this plant was already coloring when I picked it up from the nursery, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I love how beautiful the leaves are. I'll be curious to see how it colors up in the shade. It gets part shade here, so it'll be curious to how this colors up next year in my garden, because this is not the natural color from my garden. So, but look at the leaves, aren't they just so gorgeous? I love the colors on this plant so much, and I'm excited to see the blooms on it next year as well. So I actually added 2 of these shrubs in my border here, and I did make some changes. I had an endless summer hydrangea there, which I moved in this spot here close to this other bloomstruck endless summer hydrangea. So I kind of have 2 of them together, and there used to be a hosta here which I moved in this spot instead, in the back a little bit. So those were the changes that I made, and I'm absolutely like excited to add these 2 Fizzy Mizzy shrubs in this spot. And the other plants that I added, which I recently added, were these 4 autumn ferns, Brilliance autumn ferns in the spot, and I posted a video about it, and I can share that in the link in the description below, so you can check out that video about specifics on this plant. But they're thriving and doing really well in this spot, and I'm excited that I added them. So the other plants that I added were these over here. So these are, let me just think what these are called. These are the catchfly, variegated catchfly plant. So this is a beautiful perennial. It has these beautiful delicate pink blooms in the summer, and it is okay in part shade, and it has these beautiful variegated leaves. I added a bunch of these plants in this spot, and I think they are actually doing really well in this spot and blooming and thriving. And right now everything is covered in all of these leaves, but you know, I'm just gonna leave them. And I also added a Japanese painted fern in the back here, and it is also looking really happy, and it's doing well in this spot, so I'm excited about adding this one as well. And then I also added an iris in here. So this is a bearded iris, which is called Harvest of Memories, and it is a reblooming variety, so it's going to bloom again in the fall, and it has this beautiful yellow bloom with a dark yellow beard or center, and it's also a very gorgeous iris. And then what else did I add here? I made a few changes in this bed as well. I added some Midnight Masquerade penstemons. So these penstemons are just gorgeous. They're the proven winners penstemons. I added 3 of them in the spot, and these are beautiful. They have these really pale lavender blooms that are going to bloom sometime in late spring to early summer. And I like because they add a nice height in the garden. There's this tall spikes that they're going to add, so I'm excited to see what they're going to do. And I like the dark purple foliage in this bed. So the cleanup that I'm going to do, I have to get rid of this peony leaves. I'm going to cut this right to the ground. This is so all the peonies are going to get a cut back from me before winter. And what else did I do in here? So I also I don't know if I added anything in here. I know I added a bunch of daffodils and tulips in here. But let me just walk around here and show you what else did I add. But anyways, part of my cleanup is also to remove these peony leaves. As you can see, if you leave them, they develop a lot of mildew and fungus as the season progresses, and they should be removed right now. So I will come out here and cut these, but let's take a moment here and look at this rose that's blooming. Isn't that gorgeous? Especially with the leaves in the background. Love it. So yeah, so that's so let me show you here. I planted some caryopteris. These are bluebeard caryopteris shrubs that I planted in this section as well, and I'm excited that I added these. And I also added 3 plants of gold shrub. These are little gold stars, black-eyed Susan. So I added 3 of them here, and I really love how the foliage on this is. It turns a beautiful burgundy in the fall, which is really a bonus. I wasn't expecting that. Beautiful plants, and I think I might see a bloom or two soon. So I'm excited about that. And just echoing, I added 3 more over here as well. And yeah, and I had some mugo pine that was sitting in containers, which I actually planted in the ground over here. And I also added 3 plants of pink turtle head called hot lips. So this is a beautiful part shade plant as well. It has these beautiful pink blooms in the summer, and I am excited to try this plant out. I haven't had any experience with this plant before, so it will bloom from summer to autumn, and I'm excited to see how this plant is going to do next year. And I added some daylilies here as well, and some salvia as well in a couple of spots. I'm actually giving it a try at the edge of this woodland border where it receives some sun but not full sun, so I want to see how that is going to do. And then I also have a couple of Japanese painted ferns here that I planted. Aren't they beautiful? And then I have some columbine that I planted here as well, and some iris in the back there as well. And what else did I plant? Oh, I planted this standard hydrangea. I actually got 2 of these hydrangeas at a really good deal. They were $10 each, which I think is a steal for a hydrangea standard. This is the pink diamond hydrangea standard, and I think it's very similar to Pinky Winky. It has these open lace cap kind of blooms. Some of the branches are broken on this one, but I'm hoping that next year, when this comes back, I can give it a nice prune, and over the next 2 to 3 years it can develop back into a nice shape. But for $10, I mean, I didn't mind grabbing them and giving them a shot in my garden. And I have added one here, and I added one in my side garden bed, and I'll show you in a moment the other one. But the other plants that I added in here are, let me think. Okay, so there are some daylilies that I added in the back there. Yeah, and I think that's about it in this bed. And yeah, really excited with these few new additions in my garden. And then I also added some ajuga in my beds. I found a flat of ajuga. I think this is the Sun Sparkler ajuga. It's this tricolor ajuga. It has purple, white, and this silvery green. So I added a bunch of this along this path, and I think it'll come more into life next year. So I peppered it around this little pathway here, and can't really see it right now, but I just wanted to show you what I had done. And that's about it with the new addition. So I'm now going to get going and remove some of the dying hosta leaves and clean up some of the peonies. They desperately need cleanup, and I'm going to cut them and start a bit of cleanup and show you what I'm doing. I'm going to start cleanup by removing some of this daylily foliage. That's what I'm going to remove today. And also, this is an Ito peony, so if you can see at the base of it, there are already some buds being formed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up till the point where the buds are. Just really cut off these stems because they have quite a bit of mildew on it. And I also have a baptisia there, which is kind of moldy. So I'm going to just cut that one as well to the ground. And those are the few things that I will be cleaning up in the front garden. Mostly just the peony foliage, the daylily foliage, as well as the baptisia in the back there. So I'm going to get working and I'll show you once I've cleaned it up. I wanted to show you, I'm done cleanup for today, and I've cut back all of my peonies. As you can see, they've been cut right to the ground. I do leave 3 to 4 inches from the ground just so I know where these are next year. And typically I put a lot of leaves over them anyways, so a lot of them have been cut back. I also cut back my daylily foliage, so I had a bunch of daylilies here. And with daylilies, you really only have to, sometimes they will just, even if you leave it, they will just pull right out. So I don't really have to do much. As you can see, this is all dry and it just pulls right out. So there isn't much to be done here. Here's a sedum that I accidentally pulled out, but I will just stick it back right in. And yeah, I think that's the bare minimum kind of cleanup that I do this time of the year. I also cut back a lot of my hostas to the ground just because they had become really mushy. Otherwise they would become really mushy later on in the spring. So I typically just cut them back. I still have a couple more that I need to do that I haven't cut back. They are blending in with all the leaves and just engulfed by all these leaves. So I will be cutting those back, but most of them have been cut back, and I think that's where I'll stop today. And I just wanted to show you just some of the new plants that I have added, and also some of the cleanup that I was doing in this garden here. So the weather has been really good so far, but it's also getting cooler now, so time to kind of put some of these things to bed. And I have to actually put away my garden ornaments and just little things here and there, and clean up my shed. The shed is kind of in need of cleanup, so that's what I would be doing. And I also have some garlic to plant, so I will be planting some of that as well. So just a few things remaining before I can close up my garden for the winter. And just wanted to show you what I was up to today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in my next video. Do give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed watching it, and I will see you in my next video.